There comes a moment in every person's life when staying becomes heavier than leaving, not because you hate where you are, but because the silence inside you starts asking louder questions. No shouting, no long explanations, just a quiet realization that your peace matters more than proving your point. And in that stillness, something shifts. You walk away, and for the first time in a long time, you can breathe. There was a man named Adam. For years, he worked tirelessly, trying to please everyone, his boss, his friends, even those who didn't respect him. He kept thinking, if I just work harder, if I explain myself better, they'll finally see me, they'll value me. But no matter how much effort he gave, it was never enough. The recognition never came. The respect remained distant. The silence around him grew heavier. Then, one day, he simply stopped. He looked around at the walls he'd been leaning on for support and realized they'd never been holding him up. He'd been carrying everything on his own. So that day, Adam didn't argue. He didn't ask for understanding. He just walked out, not in anger, but with quiet clarity. And that single silent step became the loudest thing he'd ever done. Most people don't walk away because they're weak. They stay because they're scared. Scared of being misunderstood, scared of judgment, scared of starting over. But what if walking away isn't a breakdown? What if it's a breakthrough? Psychologist Dr. Henry Cloud once said, "We change our behavior when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of changing." And he's right. Walking away is not running. It's knowing when the fight isn't worth your soul. Researchers at the University of California found that people who remove themselves from toxic environments, whether personal or professional, experience significantly lower anxiety and reduced emotional fatigue. That means when you walk away from what harms you, your body, your mind, and your heart begin to heal. And there's another reason it's hard. Our brains are wired to seek closure. It's called the Zeigarnik effect, the tendency to fixate on things left unresolved. That's why we replay conversations over and over. Why we wonder if we should have said more, done more, stayed longer. But sometimes resolution doesn't come from more words, it comes from letting go. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and one of the most respected psychiatrists of the 20th century, once wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about accepting that not everything deserves your energy, your tears, or your explanation. You don't owe closure to people who refuse to listen when you were wide open. The most powerful exits don't come with slammed doors. They come in silence. A quiet exit can say what 1,000 arguments never could. It says, "I'm done explaining. I'm done hoping. I'm done letting someone else decide how much I'm worth." Dr. Ramani, a clinical psychologist and expert in narcissistic abuse, says it clearly. Walking away from toxic dynamics is not avoidance. It's self-preservation. You are not cold, you are not heartless, you are healing, but still that voice creeps in. What if they don't understand why I left? The answer is simple. They don't need to. Not everyone deserves access to your clarity. Some people thrive on your reaction. They crave your frustration. When you go quiet, they lose that control. And that is where your power begins. As Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." You don't need revenge. You don't need approval. You just need to reclaim your peace. And peace doesn't shout. It whispers. It withdraws. It disappears quietly. So how do you know when it's time to go? You know when your body feels tired, even after rest, when your heart feels heavy, even when there's nothing obviously wrong, when your presence starts to feel like a burden instead of a gift. That's when you pause, you breathe, and you decide, Not from anger, not from fear, but from clarity. Start by noticing the patterns, the people or places that always leave you confused, anxious, or small. If someone constantly violates your peace, it's not a one-time mistake, it's a message, and your silence, that's your answer. Next, reclaim your energy. You're not responsible for fixing someone else's inability to see your worth. You don't need to argue your value to people committed to misunderstanding you. Your time, your voice, your presence, those are investments. Spend them where they grow. And when it's time, leave with purpose. You don't need a dramatic goodbye. You need a quiet shift in direction. One that says, I choose me now. Most people think leaving is the end, but often it's the beginning. When you walk away from what wounds you, you walk into what heals you. You start to remember who you are. You notice your thoughts again, your smile, your energy. You realize that you didn't lose anything. You reclaimed everything. Because the person who walks away silently is no longer begging to be seen. They have already seen themselves. So, ask yourself, who are you still explaining yourself to? Who are you still trying to convince of your worth? And more importantly, why? Because the moment you choose to walk away, not in rage, not in revenge, but in quiet dignity, that is the moment you become unstoppable. Not because you fought, but because you chose peace. Let the silence speak, and let it speak loudly. If this spoke to your heart, you're not alone. We all carry silent battles. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose yourself. If you found clarity in this message, subscribe for more reminders to protect your peace. And share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Let's normalize walking away, not as weakness, but as strength. And thank you for watching.